Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today's an episode 142. Today's episode, we are going to dive into the mystical things that most probably or highly likely happen to only twin flames or while you are on this twin flame journey. As we know that this journey can drive us a little bit crazy, and I wonder how many times you have asked yourself, am I actually going crazy? Or what is happening to me? Why I cannot stop this? Why is it coming? Why I don't have any power in this? And I feel it's like a spell on me and all these things are happening. One of the reasons I speak about it that I have spoken about some of them before, but today I just want to really focus on these few things. And one of the reasons is that sometimes when many of you were coming on the calls with me, and I am very privileged that so many of you have decided to share their story with me, have decided to open up their vulnerability with me. And often these topics that I'm going to dive into today are a little bit like a taboo, or we feel like, I just don't know if I can tell you this, but this is what happened to me. And I don't know if that's normal, but this is happening to me. And in today's episode, I would like to walk you through of these things that you might think that you're going through this alone, while many twin flames are awakening and they are going through the exact same thing. But while this journey is very, very lonely, we know that we can't talk with our friends, with our families, or with our partner. And at the same time, we don't even understand what is happening to us. How on earth you met a person and now this person lives in your field, in your energy field so strongly that you can't breathe, you can't eat, you can't function the way you used to function. I always say that the moment you met your twin flame, your life did 180 degrees. From there on, there is no way of going backwards. You know from that day on that everything has changed. The way you see the world, the way you perceive the world, the way your life is going to be, a lot of things can fall apart. A lot of things are going to fall into place. You might feel extreme loneliness. You might experience a very strong ego death. It's like all of a sudden you have stepped into another universe or another planet, and everything is different from there on. So that's why I want to dive into today of these topics, which can look a little bit like a taboo. And I'm sure for people who are not on a twin flame journey and are listening to this podcast might be thinking, well, this lady must be a completely nuts. And because these things are very strange and very weird what we are going to feel. So right before we're going to dive into this, I just say a few things in prior. As you know, there was a little break on a podcast for a moment, and I just want to really say that everything is amazing, everything is good. The reason of the podcast, podcast being on pause a little bit, some of you know, some of you don't, and some of you will get to know. There has been a lot of magic happening recently. But I want to also say that if you find this podcast helpful, useful, you find some kind of a peace in it, then don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to support this channel over here, because it might help someone who hasn't discovered it yet and is spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. I'm not saying that my podcast is here to heal and transform, but as we know, sometimes when we put the energy into something, it will help others. And so same thing with Patreon. If you find this podcast useful and you find my workshops and my energy work useful, support on Patreon. It's $5.99 a month. And I know that not everyone has that money to support and has that availability, but then support with your kindness, with your love, with your heart. And just to say it also that we have now on 13th of July coming the one workshop before a Lionsgate event. And from today on, Lionsgate, 8th of August 2025, tickets are on sale. They went on a sale first for Patreon members because, like I always say, those who support, they get also an access, earlier access to everything. They get discount codes and here and there. But that's what I can give back by supporting me, or by supporting this community, by supporting this podcast, because this podcast is not about me. This podcast is about us, oneness. And just to say also the reason of bit of a delay of the podcast over here, because on the 1st of July I put it out, the discount code, which I think is until 10th of July. I might be wrong. It's the biggest discount I've ever done. It was for the reason I turned 35, and also there was a big shift and change that happened, and that brought me a lot of gratitude. And when this happened, I felt so much love and so much gratitude that I was like, I need to give back. So I gave the free sessions, but I also gave 35% discount, and I believe it's until 10th of July. After this, the coupon is expired. So, and then of course, many of you used it. We had many activations, a lot of channelings. So I ran out of time. And one of the things with this podcast, I like to be grounded. I like to be connected. And so that's why I need to find a time. Normally, I do this early in the mornings, but couldn't find the time this time. So now here I am. Because for me, the podcast idea is not about the knowledge, it's about the source. Meaning of, I tell you that from the source. Not that what someone has said, not that what some robot or something has said. For me, it is about the truth and the source. And in order for me to deliver truth and the source, I need to be connected, grounded. So the discount code might be still available there. I don't know. Now about the Lionsgate event, many of you have asked. Patreon members have something extra, and it went out for them. We have limited spots for the Lionsgate. Unfortunately, we can't do it like we do it on our workshops, where we have 60, 70, 100 people sometimes live at the same time, which is so amazing. Since we want to focus on individually on you as well on that time. So that's why we have to limit the tickets, that we have enough time to work on each one of your energies over this 1.5 hour event that will happen on Zoom. So you have 3 different time zones to choose. And yeah, last year it was very powerful. And I will speak about the Lionsgate at the end of the podcast. So these are the things that are happening. So just if you wish to join the Lionsgate event, it's now. The tickets are twinflameawakeningjourney.com. You will find them and get your ticket before it's too late. So now let's dive into today's topic, what I wanted to talk about, the mystical things that are most likely happening only with twin flames, or when you have been awakening on this journey and your twin flame has activated you. And before I dive into that, I'm going to say, many of us know that twin flame, when you meet your twin flame, it is about spiritual ascension and spiritual awakening. But it also does not mean that you cannot have a romantic relationship with your twin, or that you cannot meet your twin, be with your twin, have a romantic life, children, all of this is possible. But we know it triggers your spiritual ascension first. And then there is a reason for that, because it is an ultimate love energy. It's the source of the deepest love energy, which opens your heart chakra, that you have never felt the deepest love than you're feeling with your twin flame. You feel that the world is operating differently. The time and space get distorted. You feel the love beyond that you never felt before. And you cannot forget about them. It's like they are living in your energetic field. There are many reasons for that. Number one is you decided to meet with your twin flame on this lifetime and activate yourself with a life force energy, the Kundalini energy, the Chi energy that starts to go and rise through you. And while it rises through you, it does something to your body, which we're going to go get into now. But also it opens your heart. That's why you are able to experience this enormous unity, oneness, love, where nothing else makes no longer sense to you and you feel so much love. I also just want to bring it on a side that not every heartbreak, not every breakup is someone who is a twin flame. So just in a certain ways, let's label less and let's dive into more what is happening to you. And if these things are happening to you, welcome to the journey, my dear, my beautiful soul. So the number one thing that happens, and a lot of us are sometimes ashamed or don't know how to talk about it, and including myself in the beginning of this journey, is the so-called sexual energy. So what's up with this sexual energy? When you meet your twin flame, some of you only meet your twin flame by looking each other's eyes, or a small touch of a hand, or you have a very brief encounter, 1-2 hours, that's it. Some of you have a longer relationships. Some of you have 2, 3, 4 weeks of this beautiful time, and then the separation comes in. This is the most typical format where, and you might not have anything sexual with your twin flame. But then while you are in a separation, you're starting to feel a deep sexual energy, and you cannot control this. And I really want to bring a difference. What is the deep sexual energy and what is the fantasizing about someone? I'm sure when you're listening to this podcast and you have met your twin flame and you have been activated, you have felt how all of a sudden your body takes it over. You feel intense urge. You feel like there is this, you might not even have been thinking of them, or you might have just 30 minutes before cried like a baby. You never cried as much. And now all of a sudden your body starts to take over of it, the sexual energy, and you cannot stop this. And you can have an orgasm out of nowhere. And you might not even touch yourself. You didn't do anything. And the body just takes it over. And this is what I talk about, this intense sexual energy. Sexual energy is one of the primal force energies and divine energies of this connection. And that's why we're feeling it very strongly. Often also your twin flame is very sexually igniting you, meaning of either they talk to you in a very sexual manner or they make you to feel something inside of you. Let's say there can be, let's say, show me a picture of this or show me a picture of that. And I'm not saying, and I'm not saying that this is like, that they are interested in the sense of only your sexual part, but that's one of the ways how energies are going to merge. And it's a very important part. And I often get to ask, like, what to do with this energy. I'm lying down and all of a sudden I'm feeling this energy is taking me over. And again, I'm going to repeat, it's very different than you fantasize of someone or you're feeling it deeply, deeply, like it takes you over. It's not something you can control. And here is something you need to surrender into. You need to let the energy do what it has to do. Surrender into that flow, that state. I know many of you have been on my twin flame retreats, and we use the same energy, the Kundalini, the life force, the Chi energy over there. And of course, it activates the sexual energy, because where your Kundalini is based, we know that it's based at your bottom of your spine. It's bottom of your spine. No, it's not in Spain. It's in spine. And you can feel this and that's why when it starts to rise, one of the things is the sexual energy. And often it happens the same way that it's a deep one, in a distance. Meaning of you're not even with your twin flame, but you can feel it, and you would be thinking, why am I so aroused? Why I cannot stop this? The idea is not to stop that at all. The idea is to let it happen. And many of you who've been on my retreats, I know that in Costa Rica we had it. A beautiful soul came to me and said, oh, you know who visited me last night? The Kundalini, the Chi energy. And I always say congratulations. That's the best thing you can ever have. I think on my Patreon we did also the Cosmic Orgasm workshop. It requires you to surrender better. If you are not into, like if you're a lot in your mind, it's very difficult to get to that state. But that's why the twin flame energy is so powerful, that you cannot stay in your mind. Your body starts to take over, because the soul is merging, the soul is becoming one. And one of them is through sexual energy. So if you are feeling often that I'm just one after another, I am sexually so charged, I cannot stop this, then somehow I say to you, congratulations, and let it happen. Don't fight against it, and don't feel that this is something wrong. It's, again, we talk a lot about, we bring in this Hindu gods, Shiva and Shakti, where we talk about Shiva is the consciousness and Shakti is the energy that moves. And Shakti is who? Divine feminine. Many of you are identifying yourself as a divine feminine. Although I'm just going to say, try to identify less. There's nothing wrong of saying sometimes, but the less you identify, the more you are merging, the more you're becoming into union. The more you are repeating, I am divine feminine and he is divine masculine, or reversed, the more you stay in a separation. There is no separation. That's why the mind likes it. You're one. And Shiva and Shakti are one too. Without Shakti, Shiva will not function, in same way, another way. But so what I'm trying to tell you is that when you're feeling the sexual energy, and now here, two things to say. Quit watching any kind of porn. If you do that, you are messing up with your energy, to the unity, to the oneness of letting the energy to flow. Why? Because you're giving your energy outside. And I know that I have repeated this many times on my podcast where I've said that. But I also know that many of you don't want to believe me in this. I had once a younger guy and had a very strong addiction to the porn. And I told him that if you want to have a shift and change, you need to quit the porn today. And also you need to dive into that deeper knowing of your body, of the connection. And time went by, and he still comes and says, nothing changes in my life, it's all the same. And I said, have you changed these two things? He says, no, I cannot. It's very difficult for me. And I said, well, then you can't have a different outcome either. Everything that is out there is there to distract you and take you away from you, from the connection and from your union. Remember yourself. The union begins with you, not outside of it. The healing, the transformation begins with you, not with your so-called divine masculine or anything like this. You have this power. And when you're feeling the sexual energy, you are gifted. And that's why I say that do not feel that you should feel shame, guilt. Of course, that's the second thing now I want to say. You might have difficulties to have sexual relationship with others. And I'm going to say, listen to your body over here. If it's difficult and if it's hard and you feel like you're forcing yourself, don't do it. Your body is your temple. Your body is so intelligent. And if you feel that you need to do something because of this and that, try not to. Try to listen to your body. And what else I want to say is that the sexual energy is just not a desire. It is this so-called Kundalini energy, which I talk about it, and your twin activated this inside of you. And you are not actually craving them so much physically. You are being activated by their energy, their essence, the soul agreement. You both agreed on this. So don't think that your twin is punishing you here. And so when this intense wave of sexual energy happens, and the most likely they are not physically present, it's not because something is wrong with you at all. It is something ancient being remembered. And it is what? Your divine feminine energy awakening. And that is the sacred feminine creative force and creative energy. That's why who we are if we think about it. We are the creators. We are the creators of the reality. We are the creators of the union. We are the creators of oneness. And sexual energy, this is why you've been taken over by this, is to help you to your creativity to emerge, to come out of you. And it is about going you deeper within to yourself. It's clearing out any kind of shame you ever had, unlocking your true power, healing generations of repressions, all of these kind of things. And when you sit with this, now here comes the magic. When you sit with this energy and you breathe into, I often say, try to pull it upwards. That means you do not get into this act immediately. You start feeling it in your body and you're breathing into your body. You allow it to move, forcing it without a physical act, and you begin to transmute this energy. This is such a power. You'll not believe how powerful it is. And it becomes light, it becomes clarity, and becomes a reminder to you also that you are already connected. And then, of course, it comes again, and it comes again, and comes again. And your heart knows. You are thinking of me like your twin is thinking of you. They are feeling me. We're still connected. Your heart knows. And here is another paradox of this journey, especially feeling that sexual energy, is that more separation you have, the stronger it is there. I'm not going to go today fully into that. Actually, right before I go this, I'm going to say that, and this is exactly what a lot of things are not told to us, or no one is speaking about it, because it doesn't make logical sense to your mind. For your mind, you are apart. You never were together. So how can you feel such a strong urge from someone you're not even together with? So, but they are in your in your energy field, your oneness. And now I can really say that, working with so many energies and doing the energy channelings, energy activations, all of that, I can be physically in one place, but my energy can transmute to a different place. And this is not something I'm making up. I know many of you have gone to my sessions and they feel my presence even though I'm not there. I'm not physically there, but they feel my presence to say, I can tell you were here. Or I come to your dreams, especially after the activations or also in the workshops. So if me, who is not your twin, but I am your soul family, can transmute myself, same as with your twin. And I'm sure what your mind is now thinking, but do they feel it too? Most probably they do, yes. And that's why they are often starting to ignite the conversation with you through sexual communication. Because it's just something that is so strong at this moment. And it's not something wrong. In this world, we often also believe that if someone is, let's say, sending you this kind of messages, that they're only interested of you physically. Please do not mix some kind of a random crush with your twin flame. There's no point of doing that. They are very different things. And then, of course, here is another thing. Sometimes when you have sexual relationship with your twin or sexual encounter, they run like they have never run before. Because it's very scary what happens to them, because you're losing control. It is such an intense surge of awakening that I can totally understand why we run, because you're losing control. And for a man or for someone who is used to being in control, it's scary because it feels like you are on drugs. And so this is why when I talk about the sexual energy and when you're feeling it, I'm going to say, do not feel shamed about it or do not feel that this is a bad thing. Start embodying this. And like I said, you can start pulling this energy up with your breath. You let it happen. When you feel it, you breathe and see what starts to happen. Really see what starts to happen. I'm always telling to hear, don't listen to me. Don't listen to my experiences. Try it on your own and see what happens, because then you have a proof. So I'm going to just cut it off from here about the sexual energy, and there is a reason for it, because it is from the bottom, starts from the root, from the sacral, going up, and that's the serpent, the kundalini that got activated. And I know many of you have told me when they met their twin, they felt the heat in their body. They felt like something ran up from their spine, or the lower back got hurt or something. And again, please write in the comments. Write what happened to you, what physically also happened. And because it's nice to hear other stories. It's nice to read them and see we are not alone. And so do not suppress this energy. This is just my number one thing. No matter how crazy it can get, and it can get really wild, that your whole body is shaking, that you explode into the universe completely. Let it happen. Don't feel shamed about it. Please do not. And now I just step into one more time about the fantasizing of them. Absolutely, you can do that. But do that with a lot of love. Invite them in. Connect to them. Have a bit of like a ritual, not like a random thing, because it's a very sacred and it's a very healing. If you're also looking into union, that's one of the things. Okay, let's go to the next thing that most probably happens to the twin flames. And it's a very similar, but now it's a bit of a different in the fact of that you feel their presence. And this is often when many of you who are coming on the calls with me. And yes, you can book your calls. It's twinflameawakeningjourney.com. We have introduction call where you can talk. We're going to discover if you are on this journey. We have channeling and activation calls. All of them are available. I know I get actually a lot of messages. Please message me. How can I contact you? Please look at into the description. There is twinflameawakeningjourney.com. You can contact me via this, and we can get and set yourself the date and the time. There are available online bookings. I know that I don't talk about it very often, and when I have received about 20 messages, then I realized I should mention this as well. So you feel their presence. You really feel, especially in a separation, that they are around you. Whether you feel that you are waking up right next to them, and you can tell, I can tell you, I felt this person next to me. I know they were here. Or you're feeling their scent. or you're feeling that, or you're hearing they said something. I know once one person wrote that they had like a couple of times somebody rang the bell, and she goes and there is no one is ringing the bell, but she heard it. Or you have really a situation where you sit and you can smell their perfume, even though they have not been into your house or near you, you can feel it. I remember one of the situations for me, and that was the time where I thought I have lost myself completely. And this is why I understand that those who are not on this journey and might listen to this podcast, they might really think, well, these people are crazy. That's not real. That's not like they need help. Because I thought this is getting out of the hand. But now, again, working on this with energies from the distance and so on, I have seen that it doesn't matter the time and space. Doesn't matter where I am. Yes, you can transfer these type of messages, feelings, closeness, and it's because you are in the same field, and you can do that. You can really, really do that, and it's not something we're making up. But I remember I was sitting in a car, and I can tell that my so-called twin is sitting next to me. Even though there was no one, there was not a single person sitting there, there was nothing, but I could feel fully the presence. And I'm just sitting there and thinking, how is that even possible? I know I see it with my eyes, but I can feel it. I can feel that this person is here. So how does that make sense? Am I completely losing my grip? What is happening to me? And I'm just going to say that back then there was not so much of an information either about these kind of things, because until I started working with Kundalini energy, and I don't like using the word working, let's say facilitating the Kundalini energy and building that field, I had no idea that that can happen when our Kundalini gets awakened, that our senses get very heightened up, that we can feel and sense things that we weren't able to see before or hear before or even smell before. And that's also the beauty of Kundalini. Of course, it can destroy you at a certain point, but it is a very, very powerful energy. And then another thing here is that you can really, really feel what your twin is feeling, or you are feeling their emotions. And that again makes you to question, am I making this up? Do they really miss me? Do they really feel the way I do? What is happening? And I remember I asked myself these questions. There was a time where all of a sudden I had to write things down on my phone, because I got this message that I'm not contacting you because of this. There was a full message. And I'm reading this and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Why am I writing about what he feels while I am in a complete confusion? And it just doesn't make any sense. So why does it happen? And how is it possible to feel someone's presence, their emotions, their energy so vividly? Like you can tell that it's happening here, right now, right here. And yet you still receive nothing in physical world. In 3D, there is no proof. So it's like complete different worlds. You're feeling it, you are trusting it, but at the same time, nothing is happening. If we talk from that spiritual perspective now, if we talk about this awakening, what is a twin flame awakening, this is actually very, very normal. Because the bond you share with your twin flame is not built on an idea that you have to be physically together. It is built on an energy. It is energetic connection. And that's why you feel each other very strongly. I want to say also another thing over here. I'm sure Many of you had situations in their life where they think of someone, where they dream of someone, where they have that feeling of someone. And then few moments later, they receive a phone call or they receive something. If that has happened to you, please leave a little comment. So if this is happening to you with so-called strangers, how this cannot happen with your twin then? So as you are in an energetic field of frequency, the field of consciousness, and why I am doing these energy activations with Kundalini energy, because we are building a consciousness, or like the one consciousness, where you can tap into and invite your twin and feel your twin and all of this and help them to shift and change. This is another big thing here to remember. If you wish to see the change on this journey, it starts from you. It only takes a one person to change and shift, and the shift will start to happen to them too. And I'm not making this up. Another day I had this conversation, or it came up from somewhere, I can't remember from where the person said, I met up with my twin flame and I was very much trying to not to show how much I love them, how much I feel for them. I was very professional, I was very kind, I was just there. And but then I couldn't hear anything from my twin back. And I am like, yeah, but you are the mirror. The whole time you were there, you were holding yourself back. You didn't say a single word of the truth. You were guarded. And if your twin flame is your mirror, that's what's going to happen. So yes, if we are holding it back and you expect your twin then to say to you, it will most likely not really happen. And that's why I often talk about it. In 3D, we can pretend, we can guard ourselves, we can build an ego, we can do everything. But energy never lies. Energy is not something you can lie about or how do I say, that it gives a different answer. That's why I say that the most probably what you are feeling is actually real. But now in 3D, it doesn't come through. Why? Because our ego or your energetic body is holding it back. And that's another thing that is very, very important to know on this journey. If your energetic field, your energy body has some fear, doesn't believe that this love is real, doesn't believe in that twin flames are real, doesn't believe, and I'm going to say that in the sense of, if you don't believe what you're feeling is real, then your energy body will not also show you that. It's like bouncing it back to you. That brings me to actually another topic, which is not about today's topic, but it brings me a little bit. You know, when you have that feeling on this journey that they're going to reach out to me today, I am really feeling it. I'm really feeling that my twin flame is here. I'm feeling they want to tell me this. I'm feeling the union is here. And then the day ends and nothing happened. No text message, no this, no that. And you'll be wondering, am I making all of this up? And that's where the doubt and that's where all of that confusion really kicks in for you. Because you'll be wondering, well, I felt it all. I saw it all. And at the same time, nothing happened. Here is again the energy body. If you have any fears inside of you, for example, let's say you've been telling to yourself, I don't believe they're going to reach out to me. I don't believe they love me. Do they love me? You have a lot of these fears. Are they going to find somebody else? Are they going to be with somebody else? Do they stay with their wife? And you keep on having these fears. Your energy field, your body has picked it up, that fear. And if in a sense of you, for you to receive something now, you need to liberate these fears. You need to liberate anything inside of your body that is not love. And that's why we talk about the union and oneness, and it is from the space of heart. It is not from the mind. We will not figure this out from the mind. It's all energetic. And that's why when we have that feeling that it's about to happen, it actually happened in some timeline. In some other timeline, it already happened. But the timeline you chose to be in with your frequency didn't receive it. Why? Because your body holds the fear. And that happened to me as well. I didn't understand that for a very, very long time. For example, why do I get it this way? What is happening? And a lot of people often ask me, why is it longer for some others? And why is it not happening to this way? And I'm like, we need to look into your energetic field. That's why we see such a shift and change when people have done the energy activations, when we do the Kundalini activations. And all of a sudden I receive the messages, and that's not all the time. I'm just going to tell you, I did last Sunday with my dear friend Naomi, who's been on the podcast before. I called her up and I said, I really need an activation from you because I have that fear from the previous situation that happened to me. When I spoke about this doctor thing, what I had, I just also wanted to tell you, you all are super, super sweet. Everything is super well with my health. There was no problem with that. I will actually talk about this a little bit, maybe if you're interested on one of the podcasts, just let me know. But I asked Naomi to do me an activation. After the activation, I cried for 24 hours because there was that fear and that thing I was holding on to. Even though I meditate, I did everything, it didn't want to leave because I didn't surrender into this. After the activation, I cried for 24 hours. 12 hours later, I had a completely miraculous outcome. Such a beautiful outcome that today I cannot even describe it. How is that possible? And that's why I say you can only shift and change. And that's why some people have very blissful experiences after the activations, when we use the same energy. And why? Because we are removing and aligning you. Not we are, the energy does it. So that's why I talk about it. And now let's go into the next thing. And this is signs and synchronicities. So what's up with these signs and synchronicities? So what's up with all of these signs then? Signs and synchronicities. It feels like when you have entered into this journey, all of a sudden you have entered into a different type of illusion or matrix, or I don't even know how to explain that. The numbers start to speak to you. License plate are there. And it's not like you see them once or twice or here and there. It comes over and over and over. Like you cannot deny that it's happening. I remember when we were in Costa Rica with my assistant, and I'm not saying that she's not spiritual, but she haven't had the full spiritual awakening. And while she was with me, she starts seeing the synchronicities. She sees the numbers. She sees, and she's right next to me. She sees some names. She sees some things. And she looks at me and says, this is not normal. I've never noticed something like this. It's like something is constantly communicating with us. And that's true. It is. There was another day I was just realizing, like there was this kind of a thing that scientists just discovered that we can have a negative time, meaning of, I will talk about this because I don't want to say something wrong, but the idea was pretty much that we have negative time, meaning that the future can affect our present moment. So the future are the signs that yourself are sending to yourself that this is what's going to happen. And that's why we can see 11:11 everywhere. And normally the beginning sign is 11:11. And I know many of you have said to me that I first thought 11:11 is just like, make a wish kind of thing. But then you start seeing over and over and over again until you meet your twin flame, or it happens during this time. Every single time, actually, when you are upgrading yourself, you will see 1111. You will see that one-on-one, because it has a meaning. And in 1111 is often an invitation for you to awaken. And that's why you see that before. Of course, you can have other things as well. So why do you keep and so when you see the 1111, it's not just a number what you're seeing, it is a portal. It is a portal for you to understand that number 1 is about identity, and 11 is about the mirror of 11 is about awakening. And the repetition of 1111 is your higher self calling you back into alignment, into oneness, saying you are connected, you are supported, you are on the path. All is good. The other thing is about the music. I just shared on Instagram twin flame music, like you were able to share the songs that your twin flame sent you or represents that your twin flame that you're feeling like they're talking to you. You can look it up on my Instagram. They are there. And many of you had similar songs, which again shows us that there is, and that's why music, creative force, what we talk about, this, the sexual energy when it emerges, we need to use the creativity. You are the creator. So the music, art, songs, poems, everything that starts to come, the way you express things, that's why when the heart gets open through Kundalini, your throat gets open. And your creative abilities will flow through you. That's why it's very, very powerful. And when you hear, for example, the song that your soul is like, has been aching to express, it's not a random. That is again energetic alignment. That's the universe responding to your frequency, placing the exact vibration you need to hear in your field because you've opened the heart enough to receive it. Why do we use on Kundalini? Why do we use Kundalini activations music? Because music is a vibration, and every single cell of your body feels a field and activates inside of you. So it's not random, and it's also not random when your twin sends you something. I'm just going to ask you the question of, because many of you won't believe me when I talk about the frequencies until you experience this by yourself. That's why I never force that. I don't go around and say, oh, you change your frequency. I talk here on the podcast because I know many of you who are listening have seen the benefits on their journey, on their life. They have seen how they are getting out of that fear element. And it's all based on the frequency. But if you think of it, how many frequencies exist around us right now? Radio waves, sound waves, light codes, magnetic fields. The quantum field is literally vibrating with the possibilities. You have all the possibilities. Yes, you have the union possibility. Absolutely. But you will only perceive what you are aligned with. And when your vibration matches a specific message, when you're longing, your growth, your surrendering aligns, you tune into that frequency like a radio station. And so the signs will appear. And this is not some magic, or this is not something I'm making up. And I really, really say to you, and I know I work with a lot of people who are awakened and people who are not awakened at all. And I noticed this, how people who are not awakened, they don't see the signs. They would never see 1111 or 222 or 666 or 999. They'll never see it. It's like it doesn't exist for them. And then the person who is awakened, whose senses are awakened now, they immediately notice this. When I was another day at the hospital, it was very interesting how all the team I had there were spiritual. All of my team were spiritual. They all believed in energy. And when they heard what I said, they were fascinated. When they saw what I showed to them, they were even more fascinated. So And in this twin flame journey, it is very powerful when you see the signs. It's calling you back to the wholeness. So the universe will use anything that it can. Music, number, symbols, dreams, strangers, or timings, things like this, to remind you what you already deep down know. You are not separate. And these signs aren't trying to get you obsessed. They're not telling you to chase. They're saying, look deeper. Something sacred is unfolding. Trust the invisible. Stay aligned with your soul, not your fear. And I've spoken a lot about this, how fear blocks everything from your reality. And so when the signs appear and they repeatedly come, don't just ask, oh, what does it mean? Ask instead, what is happening inside of me? What part of me giving me the sign to wake up? What is the universe trying to align me with myself? Ask these different questions. Because the signs are not just only about your twin, while yes, you do communicate through the signs. They are about you. They are about divine reminding you that you are part of something far more intelligent than the mind can ever understand. The mind will never understand this. And this is why I say when we're trying to fix that logically, that why is this happening? Why am I feeling this way? Why? I'm like, we need to stop here. We don't have the answers for all of the whys and hows and whens. What we have is what you feel. And let's connect of what you feel. Let's connect with the knowing. Let's release the fear. And when your heart begins to open, and I'm going to say that's why I do all the calls as well. The reason I have these calls, the reason I have the workshops, the reason all of this. Because I know how hard it was when I kept everything inside of me. Because there's no one to talk to. But that's why talking to someone who understands. And when your heart begins to open and your inner child begins to feel the trust, because trust is the next thing that is so important. These are like the pillars of manifestation. Your heart has to be open. You need to trust. But the moment you don't have a trust, you go into the doubt. Well, doubt is also a big sign of on being on this journey. And when your inner feminine begins to soften and your inner masculine begins to anchor, the communication will become stronger. And this is why when you are in this separation, even when you haven't spoken in months or years or haven't contact at all, even if it feels like the whole thing was a dream, it never happened, and you still get the signs, you still get the messages, it's still there. It's kind of like you're trying to escape. I've said that many times. I think it's one of the most repetitive sentences on my podcast, but I say, if you don't believe that you are on this journey, say today, no, that's not real. That's not what's happening. I don't have a twin flame. It's never happened to me. This is not real. And watch what happens. Because the universe is not speaking to your mind. It's speaking to your frequency. So it's all about your frequency. This is not something you are making up. That I really want to, because when we see the signs and things, and they can really get out of hand. They can totally get out of the hand. But it's because of your frequency that the universe responds. That's why when you have a first call with me, I often listen to you. I listen to the way you speak. I listen to the way and I put it down. What is your frequency? And later on, I tell you that you can test if you are on this twin flame journey based on your frequency. Sometimes the frequency hasn't yet cleared out so well, especially when you are in the beginning stage. You have a lot of energies mixed and matched. But again, this is something I developed out from my own hearing, because I'm able to hear the frequency. It sounds crazy. It sounds absolutely crazy, but I'm able to hear when you talk. That's why when I'm having a call with you, why do I write these things down? And now I just want to, even though I thought I'm going to finish and it was not supposed to be as long, I just want to talk about it. Okay, I have all of this, but at the same time, in 3D, I don't see anything. I don't see anything happening. So again, it's an illusion. It is not real. And I know when we are from the emotional perspective, this is very, very frustrating because we have that you telling to me that this is real, feeling all of this is real, but I don't see anything happening in 3D. I'm going to talk about this on the next episodes, about how when we are waiting and how when we have that feelings and why is it like this. But I just bring a little glimpse of it in it. So like I said, you have all of these feelings, you know, but there is no proof. And then we begin to doubt ourselves. Was that just an imagination? Did I make it up? Was it just a wishful thinking? But the truth is actually that you didn't imagine it at all. What you did feel is something very real. And by what you felt was an energetic truth. Not necessarily that it's materialized outcome, but you felt energetic truth. And that's what I often talk about it on my workshops and things what we do. I always say, I want that you find your truth. Your truth. We are unlocking you. It's not about what I say. It's not about what is my opinion. It's not about how I view the world or what I do. This is my truth. But how about we unlock your truth? Because you are so amazing. But we need to unlock this truth without anything you know prior. And when you were turning into the emotional frequency of your twin, your soul was much louder than fear. And on that moment, you were truly reaching for you on some level. But as we have the fear, that's what happens. And from the level of energy and Kundalini awakening, this sensitivity is part of your transformation. As your system, and like I mentioned to you before, feeling their energy, feeling their connection, hearing them, having this kind of out-of-body experiences are not here because of you're going crazy. It's because your third eye opens, as your heart chakra opens as well, and the Kundalini energy moves through your spine. You become highly attuned to energetic shifts. I am now also on my podcast, I am focusing on talking about the Kundalini. Although I'm going to say Kundalini is the most intelligent energy. It's not something we are playing around with. And I am not a master of telling what it's going to do and how it's going to do. But I bring you the perspective of understanding from my own experience, from other experiences, and telling you why is this so powerful. So while your body becomes very, very in tune for all the energy shifts, that's why you feel it. And your body becomes an instrument picking up every transmission from the field. But it doesn't mean that every frequency you feel will immediately manifest in 3D. Because we humans are complex. We have still free will. Fear still exists. Fear is actually, like I say, I'll talk about the fear, how fear bounces back from. If you have fear in your body and universe wants to give you something, let's say you are afraid of love, you are afraid of receiving, you are afraid of, you have a guilt or shame, immediately if the universe wants, it bounces back before it can even arrive to you. And even if the souls are ready, even if you are fully ready, the personalities, the egos, the stories, they might not be right now. So what can we do this happens? What are we going to do if, I feel, I see everything, and yet there is no outcome in 3D? Number one, and this is why we read The Power of Now. we come back to the presence. And this is something I was asked many times when people meet me, like, how can I be Zen over here? And that's what I had to learn. I'm like, but I'm right now, right here. I have nowhere else to be. And The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is a mastering something we need to master. Remember, you have nowhere else to be. You're right now, right here. However is the situation. So we come back to this present moment, and that's something to master, to step by step. We acknowledging what we are feeling and also what we felt without needing it to become something. Like, for example, you feel the love of them. And then you're not going to go into, I will only feel that love if they are here. No, you're going to feel this love. Same with when I talk about the sexual energy, you're going to feel it. Remember, you are here for a very short period of time. And love is not transactional. I will speak about this also in the upcoming episodes. The moment love is transactional, I love you when you love me, or that will be real if I would feel it, like see it, you have lost the magic of love. And we remind ourselves that just because it didn't arrive right now in 3D, it doesn't mean it wasn't real. It just wasn't time. And you are not broken or feeling so deeply. And I know if I have been through that, and I know that that's something can be hard to ego to hear, like, but I want this person. I want to share with this person. I want to tell to this person. And all of this is, yes, absolutely. But remember not to get lost when you have felt something and you see something. And this is not something to brainwash. This is not to manipulate. This is not something like this at all. Why I talk about it? Because we often start to have like a bit of a guilt or shame around it, or we feel like, I'm not normal. I'm not normal of feeling any of these things. But you are simply opening, awakening, and becoming more attuned to a reality where soul's communication is instant, where love is not dependent on the messages, things, and all of that. So it is real. And let it happen. There is more, of course. I want to talk about the fear. I want to talk about the love. I want to talk about why we are receiving it. But I will keep that for the next episodes that are coming, because there is something we have to go really deeply in. And like I said, in certain ways we will not understand this from the mind. But when we embody and we are allowing the energetic shift to happen, magic will unfold. Really, the magic will unfold. Let me know if you would like me to share the recent events that happened to me, and there you can really see how shifting your energy brings a different outcome. So if you wish me to share, I might share it for the Patreon members who are interested to know. Yeah, I don't know. It's in that sense, it's a personal story, but it might be able to give you a bigger perspective and help you to understand why things are happening. All right. I thought it's going to be a lot shorter podcast, but here we are again. An hour has passed by. You spent a beautiful hour with me, whether you were in the forest, at home, cleaning your house, or walking your dog, or just lying down. I don't know where I am as a background to you. But thank you for listening, and thank you for being here. Like I said, Lionsgate tickets are now on sale. Lionsgate is a big event for me because that's where my surrendering happened. That's where my twin returned. That's where a lot of things changed and shifted without me even knowing that there is such a powerful event like Lionsgate on 8th of August. The tickets are on sale on the twinflameawakeningjourney.com. We have limited amount. They went out for the Patreon members already. I hope there are tickets for you as well if you are not on my Patreon. There is an exclusive offer for Patreon members because they get extra something to the fact that they support this channel, and it's not, like I say, I try to keep everything available for every one of you. It's not about if you can support or not. I know that not all of us have financial possibilities to do so, and I'm not, for me it's like, if you open your heart and you're ready, you're more than welcome. So Lionsgate is happening. And on 13th of July, we have a workshop called Surrender. So we will be doing there some exercises, how to quiet your ego, how to surrender better, even though surrendering doesn't come from the mind. Surrendering comes when it happens. So 13th of July, there is a workshop. You can join that via Patreon as well. Anyways, and those who wish to have a call, please, I think there's one more day left is the discount code. I think it's until 10th of July. And channeling and activation sessions are back on. Everything is happening. I'm very happy when we get to connect, because when I see that shift and change in you, it's incredible. I am also want to say I'm really, really proud. Many of you have stepped into the healing work, transformation work. I will share about this on Instagram as well. I am so proud and so happy, because I believe you are the light. Everything you hear from here, or everything you have learned from the workshops or everything, make sure you're going to spread that. Because your love is here to heal, transform, and become a union. Anyways, thank you for being here. Thank you for being the love. Thank you for being the light. And I see you very soon. Lots of love and light.
A candlelight in the dark, weight of a broken heart, knees falling on the floor, and I could hear you pray. And listen, I won't forget the way that you called me back, and because of the hope you had, I'm forever changed. Yeah, I'm forever changed because of you. Yeah. It's your faith that made those mountains move. It's your faith that brought me to the truth. It's the way you called heaven down when you prayed for where I am now. It's your faith. It's your faith that made those mountains move. Move, how you made those mountains move. Yeah, yeah. For all of the pain you faced and trials you overcame, every road that you paved, thank you for it all. I wish you could see me now, way up beyond those clouds. I think I would make you proud. Your prayers haven't let me fall. It's your faith that made those mountains move. It's your faith that brought me to the truth. It's the way you called heaven down when you prayed for where I am now. It's your faith. It's your faith. It's your faith that made those mountains move. It's your faith that brought me to the truth. It's the way you called heaven down when you pray for where I am now. It's your faith. It's your faith that made those mountains mountains move. It's your faith that brought me to the truth. It's the way you called heaven down when you prayed for where I am now. It's your faith